Do you have a thirst to learn about wine? Do you love stories about wonderfully obsessive people, hauntingly beautiful places, and amusingly awkward social situations? Well, that's the blend here on the Unreserved Wine Talk podcast. I'm your host, Natalie McLean, and each week I share with you unfiltered conversations with celebrities in the wine world, as well as confessions from my own tipsy journey as I write my third book on this subject. I'm so glad you're here. Now pass me that bottle, please, and let's get started. Welcome to episode 4 of the Unreserved Wine Talk podcast. Have you ever wondered how an audiobook gets made and then sold via Apple Books, Amazon, and Audible around the world? Well, let me tell you, it's quite a different journey from publishing a print edition. I'm going to take you behind the scenes in creating the new audio edition of my book, Red, White, and Drunk All Over, a wine-soaked journey from grape to glass. I'll also share with you some terrific sparkling wines to help you ring in the new year. Now, I'm going to refer to Red, White, and Drunk All Over as RWD. That's not to be confused with the oil spray, WD-40, even though both are lubricants. I digress. It was published in 2006, and it was named one of the best books of the year by Amazon, the Globe and Mail, the New York Times, and it hit the national bestseller list at number 4. It was quite a ride for a gal who hadn't been writing about wine for very long. At the time, audiobooks weren't a big thing. So my publishers, Random House in Canada and Bloomsbury in the United States, didn't create one. Meanwhile, I was listening to audiobooks on cassettes and CDs. Yes, I am that old. And then I got hooked on podcasts. I don't know about you, but I learn by listening. I don't know if it's because my eyes dry out quickly when I'm reading a physical book, or that listening takes me back to the comfort of my mother reading me bedtime stories. I so love that. I find listening so intimate, as though someone is whispering in my ear. In fact, they say that the ears are the new erogenous zone. We think with our eyes, but we feel with our ears. So, why did it take me 12 years to record the audiobook? Well, life's been busy with writing a second book, Unquenchable, a tipsy search for the world's best bargain wines, which I'll record into audio next year. As well, I've launched multiple versions of my mobile apps with a label scanner and a barcode reader, created several online wine courses, hosted a live Facebook wine show weekly, reviewed thousands of wines each year, and continued to write for print publications and my own site. That makes me a little winded just thinking about it. Deep breath in. The idea finally came to me as I listened to Bianca Bosker's terrific new book, Cork Dork, which she narrates herself. She immersed herself in the wine world. I also took that day-in-a-life approach from becoming a sommelier in a fancy French restaurant to working the California harvest with the wacky winemaker Randall Graham. I just assumed that my publishers owned the audio rights to my book. However, when I checked with my agent, oh happy day, they didn't. Likely because audiobooks just weren't that popular back then. Now they represent the fastest growing segment of the publishing market. My desire to record an audiobook was the same one as wanting to publish a hard copy, to connect with people, to entertain them, to educate them a little bit on wine, but more than anything, to take their minds away from their busy, stressful lives, even if just for a brief time to relax and occasionally to smile. The biggest value add in working with a print publisher like Random House or Bloomsbury is that they can get you into the largest bookstore chains. Physical distribution is absolutely key for both sales and for the endorsement of being on the shelves or on a display. Audiobooks, of course, are different in that they're distributed online, where your own audience is much more important. Currently, I have 267,000 subscribers to my newsletter and another 100,000 followers on social media, so I thought I'm going to give this a shot on my own. Next up, where and how to record the book. Amazon owns Audible, and at the time of this recording, then also published books to Apple Books, formerly iTunes. The company has very strict guidelines for audio quality, and I wanted the book to sound professional. I Googled book recording studios in Ottawa, but found nothing other than several to record a music album. But I did hit upon Pop-Up Podcasting, a studio that recorded professional podcasts. That turned out to be a great venue, as both the equipment and soundproofing were ideal. I had no idea, though, just how long it would take to do the recording. I booked a series of 2-hour appointments. During each appointment, I would read one chapter. Have you ever talked nonstop for 2 hours? It is a marathon for the mouth. I was constantly sipping on water so that my tongue wouldn't stick to the roof of my mouth permanently. When you read out loud for performance, you need to triple your energy, your vocal variety, and you need to exaggerate your mouth movements for better enunciation, because it all gets dampened or mushed together in a recording. So the sessions were also physically and emotionally draining. I ended up taking a vow of silence for the rest of the day until I had a glass of wine. Then there's the technique of not sounding like you're pounding on the microphone when you have words beginning with the letters P, D, C, K, and T. The rush of air on those letters creates plosives or plosives. I did that on purpose, which are hard to listen to if you don't moderate them. Of course, the editing process can soften them, but you need to work at not having the audio blow out each time you pronounce those letters. Then there are all the French names and foreign terms that pepper any discussion about wine. I'm not bilingual, even though I took French in school. The book itself was almost 12 hours long. It took 24 hours to record and another 12 to 15 hours to edit. It was worth it, though. In the end, I have a permanent digital recording that leaves its own legacy the way a print edition does, but so much more personally, as it's my voice, and I can convey far more of what I meant, sentence by sentence, with the emotion that I infuse in each one. It took about 2 weeks for Amazon to approve the book, and then my baby was out in the world. The reviews have been so encouraging. If you give it a listen, please let me know what you think. In my next solo episode, 2 weeks from now, I'll read some of the best bits of the book to you. We'll have a virtual book reading together. If you have any questions or comments about the book, please email them to me at natdecants@nataliemaclean.com, and I'll answer them in that episode. So that's natdecants, NATDECANTS, at nataliemaclean.com. In the meantime, I want to share with you some terrific sparkling wines that I've discovered this week that will help you ring in the new year. Let's start with Tatonje Nocturne Champagne. This is a toasty, bready, robust champagne. It's made from 40% Chardonnay and 60% Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier grapes. This special edition bottle of the Tatonje is covered in purple glittering squares, or as they call them, reflective tiles, meant to look like a disco ball. It certainly does look like a disco ball, especially after several glasses of bubbly. The grapes are sourced from more than 30 different crus, or villages and vineyards, for the final blend. That's the magic of champagne. This champagne has a slightly sweeter dosage than regular bottles, at about 17.5 grams per liter, and is combined with a long aging period in the winery's cellars to create a rich and robust bubbly ready for night clubbing or bringing in the new year. It's aged a minimum of 4 years before disgorgement, which is removing the dosage and sediment to put the final cork in. So it's very rich and creamy. I love this wine. You can pair it with sushi, steamed crab, lobster thermidor, or making New Year's resolutions that you will or will not keep in 2019. The Tatonje is $68.95, and I gave it 94 points out of 100. The second sparkling wine is from Featherstone in Niagara, and it's their Joy Premium Cuvée Sparkling Rosé. Featherstone's Cuvée is a medium-weight sparkler made in the traditional champagne method from 100% Pinot Noir grapes, hand-harvested from the Niagara Peninsula wine region. The grapes were whole cluster pressed, and the cuvée rested on its lees for 12 months prior to disgorgement. It has lovely aromas of wild strawberry and raspberry that really sort of dance across your palate and your tongue in a frothy mousse and finishes long and zesty. I'd pair this wine with pasta, light spiced curry dishes, lamb stew, turkey if you've got leftovers. This certainly will help. And of course, the new year. It's just $24 and I gave it 91 points out of 100. Finally, we've got a really terrific bubbly that won't break the budget. I am recommending more expensive wines because it is the new year, but this one is Segura Brut Reserva Cava from Spain. Cava means cave, and that's what we call the bubblies from Spain. It's a superb value at $14.95. I gave it a 90, which is a great QPR, quality price ratio. It's toasty and earthy, dry and refreshing, a fraction of the cost of champagne. There's lovely yeasty notes on the nose with some toasted apple and almond on the finish. Stock up for your large gatherings now. This wine is so good too with hard cheeses and just about anything you'd pair champagne with, including ringing in the new year. One last one is the Santa Margherita Prosecco that I recommended 2 episodes ago. It's a rosé sparkler from Italy, and it's also very budget-friendly at about $22. You can find more wine reviews on my website, and I'll link to these wines specifically with their reviews in the show notes, which you can find at nataliemaclean.com/4, the number 4. I'll also link to the new audio edition of Red, White, and Drunk All Over. In the next episode, you'll hear my fascinating chat with Dr. Edward Miller about the health benefits and risks of wine, from breast cancer and heart disease to diabetes and dementia. He has some surprising insights into just what is moderate drinking for men and women, and he disputes some of the latest research about health risks. Tune in to find out what these are. You can also listen back through past episodes, including an intriguing discussion last week with wine writer Marnie Old and winemaker Jean-Charles Boisset about wine styles. Do you ever wonder why you like a certain wine and not others? You'll get that answer in that episode. So, did something in this episode resonate with you? If so, please let me know on Twitter or Facebook and tag me at Natalie MacLean. On Instagram, I'm at Natalie MacLean Wine, or just use the hashtag Unreserved Wine Talk. I can't wait to share more personal wine stories with you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I hope something great is in your glass this week. Cheers. You don't want to miss one juicy episode of this podcast, especially the secret, full-bodied bonus episodes that I don't announce on social media. So, subscribe for free now at nataliemaclean.com/subscribe. Meet me here next week. Cheers.